Yo, yo. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear me now. Interesting. Very interesting. Very weird. All right, cool. Got that sorted. Step one. All right, folks. Let's get this thing going. Y'all should be able to hear me here. And then you should also now. Cool. Y'all got me over here. All right, what's up, guys? What's going on? Hello, everyone. How we doing? What's the word? What do you think about GDP? Honestly, I'll check it out. Today, I chose to go on a walk and kind of just soak in the sun this morning. I haven't actually even looked at the markets, really not too much. Quick glance. So we'll just kind of be doing that dive ourselves. Before I do all that, though, give me a sec here. Well, what's good, man? Drop some gratitude in the chat. Let's get the vibes going. You know what I want to know? I kind of want to know a bit more about you guys. How everyone that's watching right now, how long have you been trading for? So how long have you been in the game for? And then I would also want to know who here is doing a challenge, who is funded, who is trading demo, maybe just trading your own money, trading live. Let me know. All right, let me promote the stream. Because we are live. All right, who's it? Also, I'm sure a lot of you saw yesterday we had two big things. We dropped the Smart Money Playbook yesterday. If you hadn't seen it before, all you have to do is just go to my Instagram, drop a 6 in there, and then you guys will be able to get access to it. And then also yesterday we did announce the Tradetopia retreat, and we are going to Colombia. So if you want to know more about that as well, posted, pinned in the community. So see you guys there. But let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the markets here. All right. Okay. So NQ, who here was looking to get in on this action. I know ended up playing out of the imbalance over here with with Nasdaq. We basically end up seeing this. So 2 key takeaways that I have for you guys today, because I think this helps quite a bit when you're approaching let's say you want to go with the trend. So for example, looking for a buy here, There were kind of two key ideas that I saw for Dow or for NASDAQ. Now, NASDAQ came into, or Dow Jones came into filling this imbalance, kind of playing out of this spike down. Didn't give a deep retracement here. So we got a pretty minimal retracement. Or, I mean, we got a good retracement, but it didn't get, 886. Didn't really play into these levels. Based off of my markups, I actually think we missed here. I think it was with here. I was looking at the micro. Yeah, like we didn't actually get down to there. So we played into the imbalance in structure. I think mitigation still is a possibility here for Dow. So it actually, I think, in my opinion, it started to move on up a little early, but I understand why. I understand why this happened, because if you look at NASDAQ gave all the clues. Dow came back into Tuesday's price action right over here, that 9:30-ish announcement. NASDAQ, on the other hand, if you take a look at how it worked its way down, and yesterday I got smoked. I got smoked yesterday twice. And there was I talked about how we could see a reversal out of here. I didn't have my confirmations, but I mean, it played out. So some of you, I'm sure, were looking to short here. And then once we started to crack below here, as I pointed out yesterday, we had the London session lows, which was right here. So you had these London session lows. This, in my opinion, was what I really wanted to see the market sweep. And then from once we went below this, I wanted to see if we got the shakeout set up. I was doing things, so I couldn't end up taking the buys in this zone. But for this shakeout, it's like you want the market to clear key levels of liquidity. So if you wanted some of the highest opportunities for this type of setup, there are, I would say, tiers to liquidity sweeps. So, for example, if you're looking at 1 minute structure, that's one type of liquidity. Maybe it clears out, like, for example, we'll say like here, right? Right now, the market is basically building up liquidity here on the 1 minute. Kind of sweeps below a little bit, but we'll just say that. That in the context, it's okay. We have 1 minute support, but that's basically it. You don't have hours or days worth of liquidity or anything like that. And honestly, funny enough that there was a trade here just now, and I'll explain why. Because you had the market building up liquidity since London session. So this clears London lows, which is what I wanted to talk about. So when the market eliminates liquidity from, the lows or the highs of a session, those are some pretty important zones, because there were buyers throughout this entire session or sellers throughout an entire session. In this example, buyers throughout an entire session. Then the market gets below it. Clearly, the market doesn't trade down here for very long. Comes back to where we saw support before. This functions as a break retest, so this naturally is going to lure in traders to the downside. Once enough sellers come in, then the market rallies. So we had that happen with NASDAQ, whereas we had the similar trading here happen with Dow. Dow clears the lows. It works its way down to here. So it clears London session lows, plays into just within Asian session. These New York session highs, and I'm going to analyze on the mini contract since it'll show us the more accurate volume, but we're already trading above yesterday's highs. We are trading into liquidity here. So if you guys look at this, we've already seen the market build up liquidity on Dow Jones. Tenemos liquidez aquí arriba. We already swept the previous highs, so okay. Then the market works its way lower here. Before the session ends, this is where we start to see that absolute reversal. So the market needed to rebalance. Still think we can trade down into this zone. So I'll mark that up a little bit later. But one thing you can do, just easy things just to give yourself a bit of an advantage. Just label the New York like the lows of the session. So New York low, and then the market continues, and we see the low for Asian session is right there. So we have Tokyo low, Asian session low, right there. So this is just gives us a clear indication on where there is liquidity. Now here, when it swept these lows, this looks really efficient. So price action is moving pretty smoothly throughout here. And then you had the London low that we already cleared, which was right there. That's where this first kind of the news event was focused on, the liquidity here. So if we trade bearish today, then these can be pretty clear targets. Same thing if there were to be imbalances and things of that sort. So when we look at the market here, you have where Nasdaq's already trading higher than yesterday. So here you have New York low. And then we can label this. So the reason I'm labeling this now, whereas I wasn't before, is after a ton of backtesting, I've identified that these key sessions, the highs and lows of these sessions, function as really good levels, really good liquidity sweeps, and that can confirm shakeout setups, like highest probability for sure. So down to here, I don't know if we're gonna be trading down here, to be honest. I think we could get a continuation today, but these are the lows way over here. And then the market is relatively efficient, honestly, past this. So maybe a little bit of imbalances here, there, like over there, over here. So something like that. But now let's get into the smaller time frames and see. And I want to ask you guys, do you look at this and think this could be a distribution? Are you looking at this and thinking, actually, this looks more like an accumulation? So how are you approaching this move? So we have, for example, Dow sweeps the London lows, comes into this area here. So all this consolidation takes it out, comes right back up, and it's moving sideways. Dow, or Nasdaq, on the other hand, here. And then, hold on, give me 1 second. Where's the trading panel? One second, guys. Let me make sure this is logged in. Also, guys, make sure if you are using a copy trader, make sure that you double check all your trades. Regardless, do not trust a copy trader on its own. Always double check and make sure all your orders are closed. I haven't had any issues with Top Step X, but I'm definitely having issues outside of Top Step X. So definitely make sure, because the market may the trades may not close when you think they're supposed to, and the market can bleed and have trades open without your consent. Okay, so right now, looking at this sweep with liquidity, see the market dump, it comes right back up. We're seeing a lot of buildup here. So a lot of liquidity building up. Same thing here with Nas. Now the difference that I'm noticing is that Dow comes up a bit higher and trades higher, while Nasdaq comes up and then right back down. So I think we could see a Nasdaq buy here to kick things off with New York Open, which is in just a couple seconds. So if the market either continues up here or we see it dip down after the fact, so let's say Nasdaq clears this low, I like the buys on Dow here. So let's see if we can get maybe Nasdaq a little lower, and then Dow kind of lags behind. Or even better would be we actually build up bullish demand, and then we see this. This would be even better. And then you could see the pullback into here. maybe we trade where we've seen some, resistance, support in these levels. Could work out. So we'll keep an eye on these markets right now. Morning, everyone. All right. Let's see here. So look at how this is evolving. Dow's starting to show us more strength on the buy side, so there's more demand right now, as of now over here. And when I say demand, what I mean by that is that, okay, so when you have demand, think about it in a real perspective. That means that there is a desire for a product, a service, there's a desire for something. So when we talk about demand in terms of these assets, what it means is that there are orders, positions being opened at these levels consistently. So we're seeing positions opened up here withstanding these levels, whereas NASDAQ is not doing the same thing. NASDAQ is definitely not looking to do any of this. So, wow. Dow Jones on a mission. So what that does for us is the following. It just shows that if the market can stay over here, then we may have the ability to take a trade along over here. That's definitely a possibility. Now looking at NQ here, or MNQ, one of the things that we're kind of noticing here, and I'm sure you're seeing this, you see a little spike up here, right? You see this little push to the upside, and then it drops. The 1 minute time frame goes higher highs, higher lows. It kind of struggles to make higher highs. And then when it drops over to here, we're noticing that the market is also struggling to get demand. What does that mean? That when the market comes down to these prices, is there a desire, right? Does the market want to keep trading down here? Not really. It goes up again. And then it comes down, it just goes up again. Right now, it just came down. Quick sweep of liquidity. Or not, yeah, this liquidity makes some lows here. So we're seeing very similar as yesterday. Markets moving in different directions. Now, in order to take, would I take a buy here? Not really, not yet. I want to see if the market starts to trade right here. So let's say we were to get the market to kind of now just stay trading at these levels, which means that there's demand, that the market, that the players, that they have decided these are competitive prices and they're willing to exchange their money at these zones. Then something like this could make sense. So this is where we have our London high. Here's where we see the market clear some highs and then drop again. So if something like this is to happen, and we can see, okay, there is actually bearish demand, then maybe I could go for something like this. For now, it looks like this may be a better case. And then at the same time, if we zoom out, what did we just do? Dow Jones did what, guys? Dow Jones just took out Tuesday's high. So this is not just a New York session high. This right here is the high of the week. That is a massive difference. This is a big liquidity target because anybody that was trading here throughout the week, anyone that was in sells doesn't just get stopped out from being over here. A lot of people place their sells if you're going to swing up at the top. You thought you had the short. That's the whole point of why this, when the market here drops this way, comes down, when you notice that the market didn't stay down here and it immediately started to bounce out of these levels, we didn't get a break, this should be a warning sign that these highs are not going to hang on. So the market now breaks through this, not only making a new high for the week, but also making a new high for the month. So we're now seeing price operate at levels that it hadn't been at. So when you look at the market here, we are now officially coming back up to some key levels from the past. So right now, I'll go to the daily here in a second, but we're starting to trade into some of this imbalance over here. I'd have to look at a different contract just so you guys can see it a little better. But now we can approach new levels of imbalance. So if I go over here, we already mitigated, we already rebalanced here, and we saw the drop. Now I think that we go even higher at some point before we see another one. And this move comes from here. So we have the imbalance and some structure to play out of here. There's like an order block here on the smaller time frame. Let's see if I can have you guys check it out over here. No, not yet. Hold on. So going back, just so you guys can see this. This is basically where we just bounced out of yesterday, right out of this zone. And then this is the new, structure point, I guess, order block, if you will, right there. So sweeps the high and then moves its way down. So I think this is where we'll get to before maybe we get some decent reversals. So yes, we already did take out, hold on. Take out the highs here. For whatever reason, it doesn't show up. I maybe don't have this set up to show up on the minutes. Oh yeah, because it was on a different chart. That's why. It was over here. So market really, once it hits around 43,692, we'll have an alert going there. Then we can see something different. So for right now, we're seeing Dow work its way up, clear some key levels. So not just the high of the week, but the high of the month as well. And that plays into much more. So reversals can approach soon, but we do want extra confirmations before anything. Okay, so that's what we see with Dow. Going back to NASDAQ, looks like NASDAQ here may actually target this at some point. So today we might actually get reversals, and it looks like at some point we will be maybe distributing with Dow because of how this kicked things off. So looking at the market here, look at how we see NASDAQ before or right with New York open, clear the high, come back down, come back up. So very, very choppy. Here, market opens, takes out this area, comes back down. So here, another push right back up into it. Then we clear liquidity. Market comes right back up. Very briefly here. It looks like we still leave in balance in this range, and then now we're trading lower. Because we're trading so volatile, like it's so volatile, up and down and up and down, what you don't want to do is jump the gun. So right now, it looks very bearish. Right now, we just filled this imbalance. We're playing into towards the end of Asian session range, which is fine. However, doesn't mean the market's going to stay here, okay? So we already cleared a lot of liquidity, especially here. We had a lot of sideways movement. So we cleared another batch. Allow the market to prove where it actually wants to have demand or not. When it's spiking down and then coming right back up and then coming right back down, there is no decision on what exactly the market wants to do. So give it time. Give it some time. Dow still trading upwards. Let's see, at $50. Damn, that means that thing crashed. Wait, does that mean that it crashed? I don't remember anymore. Holy sh... Yo, the take profit on Etsy was so on point. Look at this. 23% drop in like 2 weeks. Yikes. All right, anyways. So, okay. As of right now, it seems like we're starting to get confirmation for the move like this. This is what we were talking about. So at some point, I believe we'll have good opportunities for buys here. This might take all day. This could be end of day type of thing. So no need to rush that. And then with NASDAQ, at this point, what we want to see is we want to let the market kind of prove itself. So no rush really at all. I'm going to place my alert here, up there. And then I'll also have an alert if we get into this imbalance. Here's where we see imbalance after New York open, like a couple minutes after, and volume really kicks in here. And then to take a look at S&P. S&P has been, more than anything, kind of squeezing. So it looks like it wants to show signs of distribution, but when the market clears the lows on S&P and it clears the London session lows, it comes up, but we're just moving sideways. So S&P right now, relatively indecisive. More than likely we see this clear these lows too. But I'm not looking to really trade anything within this. Okay, so that about does it right now for indices. Let's go take a look at some of these majors. Actually, you know what? We'll start with gold. I usually just go with gold later on in the day. So let's go with gold here. Gold now cracking these lows, sweeping yesterday's New York session lows, trading into this imbalance. So here, and honestly, I think this was a good trade. I came to the setup too late. Just like 5 minutes too late, 10 minutes too late. Damn. So here was the drop. I think we had talked about this. So I know some of the syndicate squad was eyeing this buy. So I don't know if you guys ended up taking this. Yeah, a whole bunch of people, right, had this set up. So we see the market take this low. And then I guess I didn't have an alert for it. And then come into this section as well. Beautiful. And there might be an option to trade this too, because we saw the key areas of liquidity get swept. So we see Tuesday's New York session here, liquidity that taps into yesterday's New York session lows. So you have this here. So now, with the spike down, when you see a market sweep liquidity, the context of it is important, right? So seeing it clear where we've seen quite a bit before, anybody who traded basically from Tuesday and beyond and had buys, they just got cleared out. So now, looking at the market from this perspective, you see the sweep. The market trades here. If the market keeps trading here, then I'm open to buy entries as well, because clearly when we get below these levels, the market doesn't really trade here for much longer. And not only did we clear that liquidity, but we cleared Wednesdays just all around. So at this point, this is kind of what I think we're going to see. So that's S&P liquidity that is getting swept right now, for those of you curious. So if we start to see a pullback here with gold, especially if we crack this high and then we get that, even better. But I'm going to place an alert here on gold if it comes back down. And then I'm going to place an alert here on gold if it cracks this high. And I'm going to turn this alert off because that's loud as fuck. Okay, so keep an eye out on that. Going into, right, so here is S&P. S&P not cleared liquidity. NASDAQ still trading low. Low-ish, it's very rangy. And then Dow spiked down, but still kind of holding down the fort. So once Dow Jones starts to get back up down to this structure, this is where we'll start to pay more attention to possible buys. Hopefully it could, if it takes its time and maybe we're up here another 15, 30 minutes, then the chances of it actually sustaining this structure and the buy setup being valid is good. Right now, it looks like NASDAQ is kind of proving its structure, its bear structure as well. So we have gold doing some work right now. So what I'm going to do here is start to identify what a buy would be like for gold, contracts wise. So I can position myself into a trade here. But again, I'm waiting for an entry, so waiting for this to come back to do anything. MGC. All right, gold. So you guys are seeing it's clearing the highs. That's a good sign. And then my entry looks like it'd be like right where we saw support before. Around this area, I like this entry. Trade like this. And then conservative exit would be here where the market spikes up and then drops. Depending on how this trades, I might actually take it further. But there is a possibility for a sell, or not even a sell off. Like, not that I would want to sell, but it's like a reversal zone. So how would I consider a reversal zone? Let's see. Yeah, so right around here, market can just kind of see a reversal. Considering how fast it's coming back up, I don't really think we're going to see it short out of here. But ideally, we come back and we can see a trade like this. And then I already have this ready to strike if it does. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have two charts here marked up. Okay, so starting to see something interesting here. And what is the key thing here? We see Dow clear liquidity. It taps into the high again. So now this is functioning as a break and retest. Here we go. Market comes over here, builds up, and now it's working its way higher. So this functions as, right now it's doing a pretty classic signature break and retest. Obviously context matters. The question is this worth selling over here? Is it worth shorting this? Market comes down, it's building up here. So there's buyers being lured in, there's buyers being lured in. It is starting to take its time to trade at these levels. We are seeing demand at these prices. Considering the context, this could look like a good short. The problem with a short like this is that we're seeing NASDAQ already way more bearish. It's the only thing I don't like about this, because let's say NASDAQ just wants to, just pull back. Let's say it wants to have the pullback at some point to, just fill what it has already dropped. It might push Dow too high. So that's what we're starting to see right now. However, this is pretty efficient though. Look at that market right now. NASDAQ is like, just, you know what? I'm going for all this. And then here is the Asian low. So I'll have an alert if it does clear this at some point. This right here became the London low after creating these highs. So let's see. And then I don't think I pinned it out here, but yeah, right there we have the Asian low. So this is just to give you more context on liquidity. All right, so the decision. Take Dow Jones shorts, because we are seeing the break retest. That's like the buildup that we're seeing right now. Market playing out of here, luring in more buys. On its own, independently, I like it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go split screen here, because we may see something interesting here. Now look at this, guys. NASDAQ starting to trade higher. Dow's chilling. So either this was the move that incentivized, which it doesn't really, like, it does clear this high just a little bit. If we just keep dropping like we're doing right now, then that might have been it. This little clearance above into the imbalance, this might have been that shakeout where it lured in money one more time, and then now it's ripping everything down. So the market ends up trading above structure for basically 20 minutes. Here we're seeing the break. The retest might actually happen right over here. Let's see if the market retests from here, then I do like a short as well. And interestingly enough, if you look at NASDAQ now, look at how NASDAQ is showing signs that this was targeting these areas here. Played into that mid Asian session range, imbalance, now playing up. So if we want to now identify, is NASDAQ, because NASDAQ's kind of giving signs that The move that it made to the downside was more so to create, to take out buyers, lure in sellers. So now sellers are suffering because they got caught into trades over here. Buyers already got taken out. So let's see how this evens out. Because now you see this was a luring in sellers, buy stop seller or sell stoppers. So this looks interesting. This is giving more signs of a bullish setup. Dow here, we might just see it come back up here some more, and then maybe it gives a green light for a trade down into this zone. So you have different scenarios. That's what I'm walking you through. Is like, what are the different scenarios possible, so that we don't marry one bias. So it's not like, oh, it needs to go up or it needs to go down. It's like, what is the market showing us? Right now, we're starting to see a bounce here. So playing right out of these key levels. You see strong levels in the past function here as resistance. That's what's happening right now. That's support. So you have areas here. All of this. You've seen it before, time and time again. So right now, that's what it's functioning as. Bounced a little. Down it goes. NASDAQ doing the exact opposite. So when I see something like this, this right now is not telling me, this is not giving me sell structure. This giving me reaccumulation. You can look over here as well. Yesterday, a lot of this happened too. It would work its way down, lose momentum, but then it wouldn't stay up here. It would just come up and down quickly. So it looked like there wasn't that much demand down at these levels either, but when it would come back up, it also didn't have a lot of demand over here as well. So when you have the market just quickly going down, quickly going up, it doesn't prove to you what direction it wants to go in. So that's what you want. You want the market to find some sort of stability at price zones so that you have a better indication of, oh, okay, this is what I need to be doing. This is what I should be looking for. For example, right now, we're starting to see a shift in momentum with NASDAQ. So, for example, if NASDAQ stays bullish like this, we could be looking for buys as well. But we would want to see the market prove to us that it's bullish, and then, you can look for continuations. And because the market is showing us that it doesn't really have demand here, at least not as of right now, then I probably wouldn't look for a trade in here either. It's there, but we don't have to. It's not something that I need to take. We'll have to have a higher level of awareness. So, okay, we're seeing the market trade into the imbalance. This is New York Open, like right around New York Open imbalance. So here, either it's going to rebalance it and then drop, or it will rebalance a little and then just continue. Meanwhile, look at Dow. Dow's holding up. So if anything is going to short, it's probably going to be Dow. Here's London high. If NQ takes London highs, then it may make sense to trade this. Now check this out, guys. Gold came right back. Came screaming down, pumped up, didn't hold this high, quickly came back down. This to me is I'm not going to buy here. I don't like when it comes up and right down super fast like this. This shows to me that, nah, these prices aren't, like, we don't really care for these prices. So could this play out? Maybe. This honestly could. But is this textbook for me? No, I want to see price trade a little longer to prove that it's the right trade. Now, had I just taken this, I still would have missed by a little bit, but yeah, I'm okay with that. So look at how we had NASDAQ come right into the zone, clear these highs. NASDAQ started to absolutely rip here to the upside, clearing New York highs. So we quickly have now swept money here. This might be the high for Dow as well. New York open here. This was this move. So why is New York open important? Because this is where you see the market kick off. Here's where the market, like, money starts to pour in. So typical placement for positions above or below these types of levels, which the market just went for. Considering we're already, like, the London high is over here, there is a chance NASDAQ wants to clear this. But the first target for liquidity was right there. Like, this is kind of the first push. So we may see now Dow want to short from here because New York open has been liquidated. And at the end of the day, remember, this is, like, Dow here is giving us textbook break, retest. This is luring in, and the retest is happening off of these key levels. Because when the market came up, took out the high of the week and the month, it didn't trade here for very long at all. So now that the market is been trading here, it's been accumulating buyers, the market can go a little higher and then drop. So now the question is, is there incentive for indices to push higher, take out these highs, or is this already basically distribution here? Because it looks pretty much like distribution, especially after it clears these. So I think this is either where we're going to see NASDAQ or Dow short. So I'm into seeing a short with indices. The question is going to be which one. And considering that NASDAQ has taken out already, like, those key higher time frame zones, I'm more interested in shorting that. So I am taking a little bit of time to get this all sorted and then figuring out, is it worth it? Is it worth the risk reward? Because let's say, for example, short here. Okay, well, where do you place the stop? You know what I mean? Where does that go? So I think waiting for NAS to clear some sort of exterior liquidity, like out over here, can push Dow up a little higher so we can get a risk reward that might be worth it. All right, see, okay, we're getting some momentum. The market's pushing here. That's what NASDAQ is doing, getting up to these highs. Now that NASDAQ did that, now it's ready to mitigate, and it mitigated beautifully out of this zone. So look at that. Now we're starting to see really good price action here with NASDAQ. So if anyone decided to short here, playing out of the zone. It happened very quickly. And then now you're starting to see bearish price action on Nas. Meanwhile, Dow here chilling. I didn't end up taking a short because I didn't want this relatively mediocre risk reward. I would rather have a better RR. So yeah, my input here was to avoid taking that there. Although I think that we could see the market keep trading a little bit lower now that we're seeing the buildup of the break and retest. Buyers are in here. We're definitely not seeing that much demand over here. So my curiosity is the following, because now we're seeing really good distribution here. Here was that last spike up on NASDAQ. Right there. NQ mitigated right here. Dow, or NQ again, proving that it's more of the bear. And so from here, would I rather short Dow? Or would I rather short NQ? NQ looks like a better position than Dow, at least at the moment. So let's see what kind of volatility we get here. You have two potential plays, which is could be potential mitigation here on NASDAQ, or we still have the Dow shakeout if this thing decides to trade a little bit higher before another drop. So sells look like they could be opportunities. And remember, we want to keep multiple time frame bias. What we do also see is that when the market came down to here, the demand is very little. Now we're trading over here and we're sustaining these levels. So despite the little things that are happening, you know, the small time frame stuff going on over here, slightly higher time frames are still leading more towards the upside. So I want to keep this into perspective so you can organize your thoughts, organize your bias. Because now we've been trading above this high for about 40 minutes or so. This is where we decide, is there a better probability for buys out of Dow here, or is there a better probability for buys out of NASDAQ over here? Okay. All right, so we're seeing that at the end of the day, shorting Dow was the move, and the market is looking to reward selling. So playing out of this, once the market took the highs of the week, of the month, and then we saw this luring in buyers dropping, luring in buyers dropping. This right now is giving good confirmations on both ends, really. Like, I think now we're starting to see that there's a chance that Dow actually breaks all of this and goes for these lows instead of trading out of this zone. Because look at this now. It looks like we're going to see Dow get to this level before NASDAQ gets down to this level. So when we look at this way, losing demand over here, losing demand over here. It's like a battle. Is the market going to go higher or is it going to go lower? And we have to just wait and see what it wants to give us. Dow, on the other hand, Dow cleared higher time frame liquidity. However, intra, like within the day, here, despite the clear of this low, I decide whether it's going to be, if the buy makes sense based off of real-time price action. Look at how NASDAQ is just still trading up here. Still trading up here. So if I was going to take a buy, I would, at the moment, it looks like a buy looks better on NQ. And then obviously the shorts that we talked about were better here. So some of you maybe pulled the trigger on this a lot faster than I did, and you are now, you know, up 100 points or so. So good work if that's you. Right now, that is not the case for your boy. Out of the market. Let's see what's going on here. If we keep trading higher with NASDAQ, then I may be interested in shorting Dow at a different level. Because this is giving more and more signs that the move to the upside here this is just kind of a trap, right? Just trapping buyers. So for example, let's say NASDAQ clears London highs and we get some sort of play like this. So you might get something where the market, you know, makes a higher high here, but we're still seeing Dow trade and giving us a lower high. Then that could be an example for a short in the market. Let's see. So I'm going to set alerts here. Now what I want to check out is, what did gold end up doing? So it looks like gold ends up kind of bouncing. Nothing too crazy here. So clearly it doesn't want to trade, or at least at the moment when it cleared liquidity, didn't have the intention of staying down here. However, when it came right back up, also didn't really prove that there were more buyers in demand over here. So right now it looks like comes back down, comes back up. If we start trading high again and we can, again, stabilize, then maybe we find a way into this. But right now I'm okay with not being involved. And Q did come back up into the zone that we were seeing if it was going to mitigate or not. So a little bounce here. Drops actively right now about 15 points or so. To move to the upside was about 15 points or so. So this I would consider as quote-unquote mitigation. No trades for me at the moment. I'm just saying no to all these setups that are all reacting and playing out. And again, you don't have to trade like I do, right? This is me just walking you through how I interpret liquidity, how money is flowing, where the big orders are coming in and out, money is being exchanged. Based on the way that we're holding up over here, I feel like we can push higher first before another drop happens. How high? We'll see. And then, meanwhile, it looks like we're starting to see nice little liquidity build up on Dow as well. More than likely we clear these highs. Okay. Let's look at the majors. See what's good over here. Is this not gonna... Did I delete all the majors or what's up? That was weird. All right, here we go. USD JPY came back down to this level, mitigated. Where are my alerts? Oh, London session, 2:15. My ass was sleeping. Okay, anyone take this one? Anybody? Invalid, you are... What? Let me look at the chat. I've just ignored you guys here. What's up? What's asleep? You took it, Daniel. Nice. Fire. What up, everybody? What's up, Corey, Salvador, Michael, Brandon? Coinbase is going nuts. We've been buying Coinbase for a couple years now. Yeah, I use the indicator for agency high and low as well. Yeah, you can use that. I just don't like having that much noise. What's up, Marcos? How are you, bro? I have the pleasure to meet you in Tulum with Tim Sloma. Really? Dang, that's sick. 8 years, 400K funded and 400K in second phase. Nice. Let's go, Toby. Trading for just over a year and a half, but watching. You solid since November last year. Trading challenges, but just switched over to futures. Hence all my probably stupid questions. No, I mean, you know, going over from CFDs to futures it's a change. You know, there's a learning curve. Funded and doing a challenge right now. Nice, Elias. Almost 5 years. Grateful for y'all too. Demo and challenge. Grateful for the rain. I like it. The good energy. 2 years on demo. Yeah, Edwin, it's definitely going to be a couple steps away from, I'd say, starting to feel a little bit more of that risk. And kind of introduce trading that under different conditions. Morning. Yeah, I can look at Bitcoin right now. Got to show that on my buy on Dow. Rough. It's going to be perfect when it sweeps those London lows. That will be great entry for the longs right there. Sleeping on yen. Yeah. 1-to-1 at the moment. Nice. More on gold. Sold. Good. I'm waiting. TP 144.700. What do you think? On the yen? 144.700. Yeah. I would probably go maybe 144.60. Just that's a little bit more conservative. Like conservative, if that's your first exit, you see where we have all of this right there. These are pretty key reversal zones. So this might be where your trade runs into some traffic, like right around here. Honestly, actually, considering it already rejected this order block, yeah, it'll probably trade into this area. Maybe even higher. Like this might be the low, and then it goes and looks for all of this. Totally. So trading way up in here could make sense, especially if it keeps trading downwards and it doesn't really stay up too long. We can narrow this down as well over here. So we can choose to narrow this down. The last pump that we saw was like right there. And then let me make sure I have an alert here. But these are good signs. Right now on the yen, depending on how this reacts, you see how we had a whole bunch of support. This liquidates that, plays into the Monday mitigation. So right now what happens is sometimes it may just lure in money like this. So it's building up resistance. Sometimes you see it build up off of support, like you see over here. So if it does something like this, then we may see another entry opportunity and can take that up into here. So there's a possibility of this right there. So I'm going to go ahead and share this. Guys, we've done a really good job with the yen. I'm very happy with what we've been seeing so far, picking our spots here. Okay, cool. So I'm going to post this in the school. Requests. All right, I'll let you guys in here afterwards. Tradetopia trades June 26, 2025. So USDJPY. Okay. All right, so we're seeing NQ still trading higher. So I think my theory here could play out. So that's in motion. Have it thinly drawn there just for the sake of a nicer chart. Okay. It came right back down, said, no, not yet. It is not time. Seeing liquidity building up here too for buyers. So let's see, sweep and then a drop. Looks like it can play in. And then if that is the case, then we could be seeing a short. With Dow. Let's see. And then the short here, I have it getting it ready over there. Let's see. Apex isn't letting me log in. Why? Why don't you love me? This is bogus. Let's see. Got the Wi-Fi on. Come on, let me in. There we go. All right. It's loading up. Appreciate the patience. Has anyone traded anything since we've been live? You guys maybe traded the lows on NASDAQ, or you tried shorting a couple times. What do you guys have going on right now? All right, Dow pushing higher now. Pulling up into this range over here. So the typical break retest is now, this is definitely starting to lure in more buying orders. I think taking a position here with Dow, like I said, I wanted to see NASDAQ. I feel like it has a lot of liquidity to take out. So I don't want to short Dow yet because I think we could see the market clear this. So if we see it push and Dow wants to stay below this low, then I'm down. Otherwise, I'm gonna stay out. All right. All right. Hold on. I think I got logged out again. Give me a sec, guys. I understand. What? Oh, I see. All right. I got to pull it up on this one. Look at all this squeezing, guys. So what this is going to do is this is introducing money on both ends. So buyers, sellers, a little bit of everything here on NASDAQ. While Dow is here still chilling. So here's where we originally were looking to short. And based on the way that I trade, you guys know I need, like, I'm in consideration of liquidity on both ends. So if NQ sweeps liquidity and then Dow decides to chill in here, then I can pull the trigger, open up the stop a little bit. Right now, we wait. The calm before the storm. Maybe we get some 9:30 action here that gets everything rolling. Okay. So while the market makes up its mind, let's carry on. Okay, that took 2 seconds. So we have NQ clearing some of these highs, getting above over here, clearing a good amount of liquidity now. Didn't quite take out London session highs. Will it? That brings Dow still within this 1 minute range. So there's, I mean, typically going to be stops right here. The patience continues. There you go. It's a good thing we didn't take it. Now we have cleared liquidity officially. There we go. Liquidity has been dealt with here across the board. Now we have cleared London session highs. Now if the market loses all of this momentum, then we can introduce other shorting type of opportunities like we had talked about before. And this is how we respond to market conditions. So originally, we saw the market clear on Dow. The daily or the weekly and the monthly highs, it came right back down. So we saw there wasn't very much demand at the moment. Here was the shakeout where it lured in money to push the market back down. The market rebalanced. It did not mitigate, but it did rebalance. And then we see the continuation. So Dow now continues to the upside. At the same time, we saw NASDAQ clear a whole bunch of liquidity over here. Didn't really give, at least I didn't give my setup. I believe that if some of you trade like inverted fair value gaps, I feel like you would have maybe taken something here. But context matters. Now that we've seen NASDAQ clear, once again, go higher and higher and higher, then now that it's just cleared London session highs and Dow has also cleared even more. If this loses momentum right away, because now we have context, now we have cleared all the highs, then now this trade could make sense for shorts. Either or. So now we get to see something like this. This is where we could get this move now. So the way that I interpret information when we're looking at shakeout trades are require more data, require more context. Mitigation is pretty easy. Like these trade ups are way easier. Sweeps liquidity, clears the low, makes a higher high, gets a good structure. Cool, you can take it. Like we've seen so far with Dow. So Dow here, for example, clears the lows, makes higher highs. We're definitely trading higher here. All right, if it comes back down to here, you can take the buy. Easier work there. Whereas you have setups like this one where we are in the higher time frames really matters, and how the market confirms demand or not really matters. So for example, if here we can kind of, right now we're getting the break retest. So if we can do a little more of this, then I like this setup here. So we got this, we get this. I want kind of something like this. And we for sure there's definitely liquidity over here too. So look at this. This is a good sign. Dow is bullish, NQ holding it down. So now you adapt to possibly shorting NASDAQ, identifying what your contract or lot size should be. With the trade like this. right, so with a setup like this, this is what I'd be trading. Okay, so we're now starting to see buys build up over here. All right, we're seeing price wants to trade here a little bit longer, short-lived with the pump over here. You guys see how patience allowed us not to get stopped out on anything here. Like, these were all like cool little moves. Could have been like 1-to-1s, etc. So here, buildup of buyers. Lock them in, because if this builds up more liquidity, and then we get that move up here, it's game time. And remember when we were looking at YM, and there was that higher time frame? We had, I think it was up here. Yeah, a little bit higher, where we wanted to see if it was going to short from there. All right, so with the way that the market now is playing out of where we've seen resistance before, we clear these highs and I'm in. Like, we just clear this up into here and I'm going to short this. So all we need is to clear this. So Thursday, all right, we got some more trading tomorrow. There's the news event in the morning tomorrow as well before New York Open. And then we'll have New York Open as well. I think that's all there is on tomorrow's radar. And could today be the high for the week? Could make sense. We'll see what the shorts look like today. All right, now stacking more and more buy orders here. Break and retest. Traders are starting to get, money is starting to get pulled in here. Breakout traders, right? Buy stops. All of these are getting triggered in. Dow is still pulling. Because right now, since we're kind of ranging, to me it makes sense that the market would chop up, just like I had here written, make the move, and then make the drop. Step by step by step. Anyone here going to short with me? Or are you guys staying out of the market since it's just been so bullish? What's the opposite of catching a falling knife? Like when you're trying to pin the high? What do people call that? I don't really remember. Actually, what I'm going to do, I just should have set a limit. A little sweepage. All right, let's see if it gives it to us. If this thing falls, I'm going to just be crying on screen. All right, let me check the chat. Getting in front of a bull. Cool. Loyalty with you. No, be loyal to your system, not me. Manage my MYM, buy nothing else. Okay, nice. Okay, a little spike down right now so far on MNQ. A little push down. Okay. Maybe more liquidity building up here. Let's see if it's going to eat it up first. Hey, also I wanted to ask you, what's the stream quality been like? Has it been dropping? Has it been okay? All right, liquidity sweep there. Stream quality has been good. Okay, cool. So, okay, we talked about the yen. Let's get into some other majors. USD CHF still dropping. USD CAD had already mitigated, so there's nothing else that we had to do there. NZD USD pushing higher. We don't have any entries not for any sells, not yet at least. I don't really see any. Maybe with new highs, clearing some of those highs, we'd have something. GU on a rampage. We did not trade anything here. We've been waiting. GU setups, what looks really quality could be the buys on the pound or the buys on, actually, that's it. And then Australian clearing these highs already had mitigated. So if anything's going to short, it looks like it would be NZD USD, but we would need just a new setup. So NZD has been kind of the one slowest on the way up. So maybe we see a sweep of the high and we get, a shakeout, or we just see the sweep of the high and we get a break of structure and then a trade. Okay, so moving on up here, buys have been brought in. Okay, so we got the buys here trading out of this zone. Still valid for me because we have little demand over here. So if the market wants to take out these sellers here real quick and then make the move, be my guest. What I'm noticing is I may be looking like I'm not getting the imbalance fills like this one. It's taking its time to get into this. So let's see. Did anyone already get into this? Once you saw the sweep, you were just like, you know what, man? Fuck it, I'm in. Good quality. Sweet. All right. While we're waiting for this, if you guys are here, definitely check out all the details for the trip. I know a lot of you were asking that you wanted the traders retreat and you wanted to go on, your own, kind of see the future. So go to that pin post, check it out. We have the video recording from yesterday's just breakdown. Otherwise, you guys can see kind of the videos and everything that comes along with it. But definitely check that out. It's already pinned. And then what I will do is I'll add this setup here. In case there's people that aren't on the stream that maybe are going to be able to hop on, that can check this out. So we'll have this there. Dang. Is this going to leave us? Just might. All right, I'm going to drop this now so that you guys can just check it out. Drop a comment in there if you have this one set up. Once you have these marked up or you have your alert set, drop a comment. Let's see it. NZD, yeah, I would want to wait for this. What we're about to see is the market is finally looking to get above Monday's high, so the high of the week. So trading out of the high of the week could be a possibility. Everything else is already traded above this. Pound, Euro, Australian, everything, except for NZD. So NZD very, very, very slow to get over the highs. If you look at USD CAD is actually pretty slow to work its way back down. So it's doing a pretty good job at kind of keeping its structure. If you look at USD CHF, already lower, below the low of the week. And then the yen also actually already mitigating this level. So if we wanted to see something, the market give us a decent play, honestly, what might be a good position is trading USD CAD, but from over here. So we see UCAD kind of make its last dip over here. The market consolidates, pushes down again. So you may see USD CAD reversals somewhere in this range. I don't really have like a super clear play yet. Let's see here. Let's get a little more detail. Maybe we zooming in, we can see something a little better. So here was the sell-off on USD CAD. Market trades above it. And then we have it here, play into the zone. Looks like we have a little bit of an imbalance in here. So either the market wants to trade out of here, or the market wants to play out of this order block. Something like this can make sense. I'm going to have an alert on both sides. Because if you noticed, UCAD is barely coming back to this June 17th. It's in this imbalance. If you look at USD CHF, it's below all of that. USD JPY, it already mitigated this, starting to kind of come back down. So I would be mindful of UCAD or USD JPY. And then same thing, NZD USD, already trading here. So mindful of the dollar overall. NASDAQ, the buys are building up liquidity at these levels. Demand liquidity for the sells here also kind of stacking up. So let's see if we pull into this. I'm game. Right now we've seen price lose demand over here, and then we're in the last 15 minutes of this hour. So let's see. What time frame do you recommend watching for shakeout setups when looking for consolidation stuff? Honestly, probably like the 15. I'd say like that's where you'll get a really good. On the 15 minute, I think you're able to see like basically a good 24 hours, 48 hours of price action. So I think you tend to have a better understanding on how the market's flowing. So we're looking at 5 cons on this one. Dow gives here. This is the news, basically the push after the news. And then you have New York Open right there. So Dow clearing New York Open, I think, is going to be inevitable here. These markets are funny. Just squeezing. Got it. Timon, good stuff. In quality. Some of you are in both. US30 and shorts and gold buy. Oh, how is the gold trade going? All right, so we're good. We're set on that with. So I'm not, like I said, I told you guys I wasn't going to be in the gold buys yet. I said I was going to wait. I needed more confirmation. Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm not trading that. Yo no estoy en esto. Now, what's making more sense now is this. Here. Sweep of the high. Maybe take a look at silver as well. Gold's good. And then what's oil doing? Oil's still squeezing, huh? Ooh, okay. This is an interesting development. Very interesting. A lot of sideways action here. I feel like we're going to get one more. And either it bounces off of here or it clears the highs, one or the other. This will be very curious. Right now, the low of the week is right here. So this is the weekly low. And this is playing out of this zone specifically. So I had a little sweep there. We can actually dive into that real quick in here. Here's where the market shorted. That's from last week. And that's where we got the bounce here. So this is now efficient. There's a little bit of demand over here, but market might want to clear this. Just kind of clear some of this in here. So maybe we go a little lower. And then the market rallies. Or fuck everything I just said. And and it just gets higher now, and we can look at this from a different angle. So we'll see. All right, you guys asked about Bitcoin, and I have not gotten to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is actually giving signs that it wants to work its way down. So we just got into like where it pumped up a little bit higher to drop. Right now, we're starting to see Bitcoin playing into this imbalance. So looks like it can start to build a distribution here. Could be ready to short here soon. ETH tapped into that zone that we had talked about. Look at that. Look at that. So right during Asian session, tapped into here, and now it dropped. So if you waited for this to happen, then you nailed it. Did anyone take ETH sells? ETH sells over here. And that allowed Bitcoin to line up as well up here. And that's when it tapped into this high. Now the difference is that Bitcoin, though, when it dropped and tried getting lower, it's not holding up too great. It's not holding down over here as much. So market could want to just keep pushing. So keep this in mind. We'll see how it plays out. Meanwhile, the calm before the storm. NASDAQ squeezing more. It was like it got fun for a little, and then it just cooled down. It's been a slow build. Going into the new hour here soon. Is that on a sell entry? 670. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Puccini? I don't know what specifically you were. Oh, is that oil? I'm waiting on oil. So, I mean, you guys know what to expect here. Obviously, I could be here all day, but you guys already have everything you need. So, keep me posted. If you guys end up taking this and it ends up, whether you win, whether it loses, whatever it is, like, I want to see how you guys go about your process, your trading in general. That's what this is all about. Like, this isn't about me giving you guys like signals or ideas. It's you becoming an independent thinker, you learning how to manage your positions, you learning how to do every single element of the trading process. So for now, guys, appreciate you all for hopping on with me here. What day is it today? Thursday. So tomorrow will be our last day of the week. We'll be trading live here together per usual. So anything you guys do, go ahead and share it in the Tradetopia community if you have any questions regarding setups, whatever. And then remember, if you do want to get the Smart Money Playbook and you don't have it yet, then make sure you check it out. It's available at just drop a 6 in the last Instagram reel that I made. And then tomorrow, as you guys can see here, tomorrow we have PCE. So I will be doing a Zoom. Today I opted out of it, but tomorrow we'll be doing PCE together, and maybe CAD will give us something as well. So stay on the lookout, and then I'll see you guys. So take care. Drop a 6 in my reel, not in here. But cool. Peace out, fam.